Hello students, I am Dr. Shantanu Ganguly, the Chief Librarian of All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Today I am going to discuss on a very important area which is called government as the source of information. Now institutions are a major source of information. Among the many non-documentary sources of information, institutions are a major source of information. A university, for example, is an educational institution, and a bank is a financial institution. In addition to the people who manage and run the institution, other components such as its various resources including file, documents, organizational websites, cumulatively making the institution a rich source of information. Many large libraries are information institutions whose primary objective is to acquire, organize and fulfill the information needs of the users. Apart from libraries and information centers, there are numerous other organizations which have varied objectives are into it. The government ministries and the departments and several of the autonomous bodies, these ministries and the government bodies are the authenticate sources of primary data and the information. The executive, the legislature, the judiciary, the states, the union territories and districts of the Indian government have a structured mechanism for carrying out its many activities and in disseminating much needed information through its various institutions and organizations. One of the important component when you look at it from a government institution point of view, one of the important aspect of the government is policy formulation and policy framework which comes out, it gets implemented for the civil society. The policies announced by the government from time to time are available to the information seeker through the various government ministries and departments, and nowadays it has become mandatory to put all the government policies and documents for implementations, and they are hosted on the website. Welfare oriented activities of many ministries that acquired the outreach or wide provisioning of information have offices at district and even the rural levels. The speeches and the announcements of the ministries and other important officials of the ministries are important source of information. So are the numerous documents and files in the ministry. The files are a valuable source when the ministry has to formulate the plans and policies. The ministry also gives information to students who travel abroad or for higher studies. These data, these and other information are disseminated through various departments and bureaus, and the website of the ministry is also a very rich source of information. There are a few leading examples. Let us take an example of Ministry of Agriculture, which is an agriculture planning and information bank that is called APIB for the East Khasi Hills district of Meghalaya. It is a single window access to knowledge related to agriculture and allied sectors useful for the farmers, extension personnel and planners who are working in the northeastern areas. The government ministries and the departments have their organized presence in almost all sectors, be it banking, financial, insurance, cooperatives, cultural, educational, health, public sector, scientific research, sports, tourism, hospitality, etc. The Right to Information Act, that is called as RTI, which was published in 2005, in fact it was implemented in 2005, that mandates timely response to citizens' requests for government information, has broken new grounds in providing information to the citizens. And today it is so transparent and open that anybody can file an RTI to seek an information from any government institutions or organizations or the ministries without just submitting he has to fill up a form, he has to submit a request and he has to fill up a very nominal fee of around 10 rupees or so. And he is legible to get all the information irrespective of if it is of a different level, like information of a high security or a confidentiality is required. It's an act to provide for setting out the practical regime of right to information for citizens to secure access to information under the control of public authorities in order to promote transparency and accountability in the working of every public authority. The constitution of a Central Information Commission and State Information Commissions, and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Some of the list of important ministries who are looking after here, I have given details about it, like for example the Ministry of Agriculture. Ministry of Agriculture is mainly for the agriculture, animal husbandry and livestock. Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers for the chemical and fertilizer. Ministry of Civil Aviation for the air transport. Ministry of Coal for non-renewable energy. So it is a complete listing I have provided that which are the mandates or which are the sectors basically looked after by which particular ministry. So that's a very important thing as an information professional you should be knowing. Because tomorrow when you are working with some of the organization and institutions, you may have to collect a lot of government information from different places. So you should be knowing which is the right ministry I have to approach to get the information. So it's a very important aspect to understand that. These are some of the more list of important ministries I have furnished here. Some more of them, like for example, Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Suppose for indigenous people, like what the people who are in the, the people who are very different from in the tribal areas and all, were working on several kinds of holistic medicines and other areas. If you want to find out of the information, you have to visit to the Ministry of Tribal Affairs and find out. Or maybe for the Ministry of Textile, for textile clothing and everything. So, or for micro or medium and small enterprises. So each and every important ministries are very, very important as far as the information is concerned. Some more ministries, you can have a comprehensive entire ministry list which I have shown here, and one of the things I am addressing here is, please go to each and every ministry website and see, because I have given a indicative list of sectors which they are addressing. But if you really want to get into more informations, probably you have to visit to each and every ministry websites and you have to find out what is the relevant information available, what is available where. So that's an answer to you. Like I'll highlight some of the very important ministries, like for example, agriculture sector. In India, this is one of the biggest sector we work. With its allied sector, it is unquestionably the largest livelihood provider in India today. More so in the vast rural areas, it also contributes to significant figure to the gross domestic product, that is called GDP. Sustainable agriculture in terms of food security, rural employment and environmentally sustainable technologies such as soil conservation, sustainable natural resource management, biodiversity protection are very important aspects of the rural development. Indian agriculture sector and allied activities have witnessed a green revolution, a white revolution which is related to milk, a yellow revolution and a blue revolution. This section provides the information on agriculture produces like machineries, research, etc., detailed information on the government, policies, schemes, agricultural loans, market prices, animal husbandry, fisheries, horticultural loans and credit, sericulture, etc. is also available. The same in the example of commerce. Commerce facilitates environment and infrastructure sector for promoting international trade in the country. This section provides information about the industrial organization, government departments or councils, regulatory bodies who are looking into the Ministry of Commerce in things. Lot of informations are there. In fact, they have got a large number of autonomous bodies also who looks into some of the very specialized areas. Details of acts, rules, regulations, trade policies, schemes and government decisions related to export and import, special economic zones and trade promotions, etc. are covered under these sections. Another is a defense, which is one of the major spending sectors in the Indian economy. The geographical and the topographical diversity, especially the 15,000 kilometer long border which India shares with 7 neighboring countries, poses unique challenges to the Indian defense forces. And the section complete information pertaining to the activities of the Indian Army, Navy, Air Force and parliamentary forces. So paramilitary forces. So detailed information about various defense organization is also given. Like for example, there are several, as I have mentioned, that there are several organizations and institutions are also there in an autonomous body which works very closely with the defense ministry or with other allied ministries also. Let me give you an example of, say for example, BrahMos space. They are completely into different kinds of, the missiles and other aircraft components. They are working on the designs and other aspects of that. It is a part of the Ministry of Defense and autonomous body on that. So one needs to, look into the more and more these areas. So one of the important area where basically which we look into is Ministry of Environment and Forest. That is, there's natural resources such as lakes, rivers, forest, wildlife, etc. having a pivotal role in Indian lifestyle. But growing population of the country is increasing pressure on environment. The primary concern of the government is to implement policies and programs for the conservation of the ecosystem, natural resources, welfare of animals and prevention of pollution, etc. In this section, we have highlighted initiatives taken by the government and various organizations for conservation and protection of flora and fauna, forest and wildlife and for the control of the population also. So what I would suggest that when you go to the Ministry of Environment and Forest, you will also look for, there is a very important plan project is implemented by MOEFCC, which is exclusively on the environmental information system. And they have identified more than 70 center of excellences who are working on a very specialized areas of NRM, that is natural resource management. And it is addressing to some of the very pertinent areas of environment, forest and climate change areas, where each and every autonomous body is there. I mean the center of excellences, they are working on those areas and can provide, they are providing free of cost information on those areas. I am sure you should look into those areas. The another is your food and public distribution. The Department of Food and Public Distribution is responsible for the management of the food economy of the nation. It undertakes various activities such as procurement of food items, their storage, the movement and delivery to the distributing agencies. This section provides requisite information pertaining to the central, state government departments and various institutions handling the public distribution system. Information related to the commodities, consumer affairs, consumer cooperatives and scheme is also available in this section. The other area is the governance and administration. India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic with a parliamentary form of government, which is federal in structure with unitary features. There is a council of ministers with the Prime Minister at its head to advise the President, who is the constitutional head of the country. Similarly, in state, there is a council of ministers with the Chief Minister as his head, who advises the governor. This section provides insights of the Indian governance at administration at the central level, state level as well as in this local level. So, information about the Constitution of India, Parliament and legislature, union administration, state, district and local administration is given on that. In fact, in this context, I want to highlight in one of the examples that please go and visit to the website which is developed for the Parliament Library. They have an enormous amount of resources which are available, or information resources are available on these areas. And some of the, like for example, somebody is looking for some gadget of India, or maybe some, what do you call, the different kinds of the questions which are asked in the parliaments and all. Everything you can get it from the Parliament of Libraries, the websites. Please have a look at it, and this will give you a complete overstructures of the governance and administration area. Housing. The housing industry of India is one of the fastest growing in the current context. A large population base rising from the income level and the rapid urbanization leads to growth in this sector. In fact, one of the major sector is basically migration. There is a lot of people are migrating even today from the rural sector to different sector, or maybe from one state to another. In the federal structure of the Indian polity, the matters pertaining to the housing and urban development have been assigned by the Constitution of India to the state governments. However, the union government is responsible for formulation and implementation of social housing schemes. Our section on housing highlights various initiatives and schemes implemented by the government for rural, urban and the EWS housing, that is economically weaker section of the society. The most important area, one of the most promising area is industries. Growth in the industrial sector is one of the vital figures that affect the gross domestic product or GDP in India. This section provides information about the initiatives taken by the union and the state governments to facilitate the industrial growth in the country. Details of industries like insurance sector, micro, small and medium enterprises sector, chemical sector, fertilizer sector, defense products, cottage, retail, textile, pharmaceutical, manufacturing are provided for the users. This section also highlights the schemes, the documents, the forms, the acts, the rules, policies, reports related to the various industries and the corporate governance. And this is one of the important area. In fact, there is a very strong backbone of MSMEs are there, that is micro and small and medium enterprises. And anybody wants to, if you visit to their websites of the Ministry of Industry and their, different autonomous bodies which they have, you will be able to find that there is a huge amount of informations are already loaded there. Lot of for the citizens of the people, and they are available free of cost. People can download it and find all the informations which are there. So, information plays a very, very major role in each of these ministries which I am showcasing here. Information and broadcasting. The mass communication media such as radio, television, films and press and print publications. Advertising and traditional modes of communication plays a very, very important role in helping people to access the free flow of information. In India, the mass communication media emphasizes on facilitating entertaining needs of various age groups and focus attention of people on issues of national integrity, environmental protection, healthcare, family welfare, eradication of illiteracy, etc. This section offers in-depth of various mediums of mass communication such as broadcasting, film and print media. In fact, in the current context, if you visit to the websites of Prasar Bharati, you will find that they are doing an enormous amount of, in fact, they are playing a very pragmatic role in disseminating information and knowledge to the entire world, I would say, through different digital means. In fact, in the current context, they have come up different kinds of technological apps they have come up where you can watch or you can get all the information even on your mobile also. So, a huge amount of information and knowledge is available and it is disseminated by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And this is one of the very, very important and very, very sensitized area of the government of India. Then comes your law and justice. The Constitution of India guarantees protection of life and personal liberty to one and all. It provides adequate safeguards to fundamental rights against arbitrary decisions. This section has detailed information about various legislations, rules and regulations, legal institutions, commissions and tribunals. You can also get information about the Supreme Court, High Courts, subordinate courts, legal aid, profession, alternative dispute resolution, that is ADR, etc. Details of online services and free legal aid schemes are also available. Related documents and forms are provided in these sections. One of the very, very important area where Ministry of Law and Justice who have highlighted in their websites and all, that there are large number of solved cases they have. Even some of the summaries of the cases are have, it helps people to understand the, if somebody is facing such kind of a case, and there are, there are a lot of informations are there where it can give a lot of assistance to the civil society as far as the information is concerned. It's a huge knowledgeable platform was developed by the Supreme Court, the High Courts and other subordinate courts and even in the district level courts and all, everybody. And on each and every subject areas, it's a huge subject areas, starting from all kind of legal matters or disputes, whatever you talk about, they have a huge amount of information available on their websites. One of the very important area where ministry is working right now is on the rural sector. Ministry of Rural is playing a very, very important in this particular area. Rural development implies that both economic betterment of the people as well as the greater and social transformation. In order to provide the rural people with better prospects for economic development, increased participation of people in the rural development programs, decentralization of planning, better enforcement of land reforms, greater access to credit are needed. This section provides complete information on initiatives taken by the government for bridging the urban-rural divide by upgrading the standards of living of the people in the rural areas. Like for example, information about the programs, the schemes, the employment opportunities, the Panchayati Raj institutions, the development authorities, the drinking water, the sanitation, road constructions, electrification of villages and food supplied, etc. is provided. So this is one of the very, very pragmatic area, a very, very pragmatic area where every student have to get into it. And I would urge each and every students to get into each and every these rural sectors also and try to understand that what are their demands, what are their areas they are looking into. The other area is your social development. The government is committed towards overall development of all sections of the society. The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment works towards educational development, economic and social empowerment of the needy people, This section offers requisite information pertaining to the central and state government departments and their activities in the social development sector. You can also find details of educational institutions, commissions, schemes, and online facilities to avail for various government benefits. Related documents and forms are also available in that. One of the important area where I would like to put a lot of emphasis is your travel and tourism area. Travel and tourism is the largest service industry in India today. It provides heritage, cultural, medical, business and sports tourism. The main objective of this sector is to develop and promote the tourism, maintain the competitiveness of India as a tourist destination and improve and expand existing tourism products to ensure that employment generation and economic growth. In this section, we will provide a lot of information about the tourist destination, modes of travel, accommodations and the approved travel grants. Well, this is a very, very important area as far as the Government of India's Ministry of Travel and Tourism sector is concerned. Because India is a culturally rich country, and not only from India, but there is quite a huge contingent of people from across the globe. They visit to India to see different places. So this particular ministry had to play a very, very important pragmatic role in this area as far as the travel and tourism is concerned. And there is there are the data where it shows that a considerable amount of employment generations or the economic growth, it quite depends upon the travels and tourism industry in India. Lot of people can earn their bread when they are into the travel and tourism industry sectors. So this is a very, very important area, and lot of development of the heritage buildings, reviving the culture of India, lot of sports tourisms or different kinds of sports. Like for example, in Kerala, we have the boat racing, which is one of the famous boat racing which is there. A large contingent of people of the world, they come and visit Kerala to see on the backwater the kind of the sports that takes place. Some of the traditional sports also, which are very world famous, are there in India, and so it plays a very important role, and a lot of people from across the globe, they come and see those things. So one needs to have a lot of information on these areas. Art and culture. Well, before I take up the Ministry of Art and Culture, which is one of the area, I would like to mention that the Library and Information Science Governance comes under the Ministry of Art and Culture. You have an office in Shastri Bhavan, where basically the Ministry of Culture, gives the total governance to the entire library system in India. Culture plays an important role in the development of any nation. It represents a set of shared attitudes, values, goals and practices. Culture and creativity manifest themselves in almost all economic and social and other activities. A country as diverse as India is symbolized by the plurality of its culture. India has one of the world's largest collection of songs, music, dance, theatre, folk traditions, performing arts, rites and rituals, paintings and writings that are known as the intangible cultural heritage, or in short form, in an acronym we call it as ICH of humanity. In order to preserve these elements, the Ministry of Culture implements a number of schemes and programs aimed at providing financial support to individuals, groups and cultural organizations engaged in performing visual and literary arts. This section offers comprehensive information related to cultural heritage, ancient monuments, literary arts, visual arts, schemes, programs, performing arts, fairs and festivals and handicrafts of India. Detailed information on various organizations involved in promotion and propagation of Indian art and culture is also available in this section. The other area is your communications. Electronic and information technology is one of the fastest growing segments of the Indian industry. Along with the liberalization in foreign direct investments and export-import policies, the sector is attracting considerable interest. This section gives the detailed information about the communication and information technology in the country, which is handled by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is called MeitY. Information related to the post, telecommunication and information technology is also provided. Education sector. The essence of human resource development in education sector, which plays an important significant role and remedial role in balancing the socio-economic frameworks of this country. This section is very helpful in getting information related to the elementary, secondary, higher and adult education. You can also find details of educational institutions like courses, admission procedures, scholarships, students, loans, technical and medical education and vocational studies, etc. Detailed information related to foreign scholarship, exchange programs and universities is provided. Related documents and forms are also available in this section. Finance and taxes. Finance is the backbone of any economy. In order to propel the economic development of the country, finance and taxes related to matters are highly essential. This section provides information related to finance and taxes. For example, sectors like insurance sector, banking sector, economic sector, trade and business sector. The details of the different acts, regulations, rules, schemes, policies, budget, online services, etc. by the union and the state governments which are formulated are available in this section. Foreign affairs, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. India's foreign affairs are closely integrated with the country's fundamental security and developmental priorities. This section highlights India's foreign policy, its relation with the other countries. Users can find procedures related to passport and visa services. Details of the embassy and consulates are given in these sections. Indians staying abroad can get information about various schemes, acts, visa services and other facilities offered by the union and state governments. Health and family welfare should be within the reach of every citizen for providing basic health facilities to all citizens. Government has introduced and implemented various health schemes and programs. This section provides information pertaining to health programs, policies, schemes, forms, etc. for specifically, like for example, for women, children and especially for the senior citizens. Details of the union and the state government agencies, departments, organizations, research institutions, hospitals are also available. Ministry of Home. The enforcing law is an important function of the government to maintain the internal security of the country. The Ministry of Home Affairs ensures that the internal security through various organizations. It also extends manpower and financial support. In this section, information related to various enforcement organizations, internal security agencies and police forces is provided. Details of various online services like reporting crimes, lodging complaints are available. So one can easily find the fire schemes and the forms and the documents related to this section. The infrastructure, which is a major sector that propels overall development of the Indian economy, the Secretariat for Infrastructure in the Planning Commission is involved in initiating policies that would ensure that time-bound creation of world-class infrastructure in the country, like for example, bridges, dams and the roads and the urban infrastructure. The details of the projects, organization, policies and timeline schemes spending on infrastructures are provided for the users. Labor and employment. Labor policies are devised to maintain the economic development. Social justice, industrial harmony and welfare of the labor in the country. To promote these activities, various reforms and initiatives have been brought about by the government. This section covers employment-oriented programs, activity schemes, recruitments. And it has covered both organized as well as the unorganized sector workers also. Power and the energy sector is a very important sector which plays a very important role in the economic development. Development of conventional energy for meeting the growing needs of the society. The sections also looks into the conventional and non-conventional form of energy, the schemes and policies which are available, and also the state and the central governments, the non-conventional, the alternate, the new and the renewable energy sector like solar, wind and bioenergy sector are also mentioned here. Science and technology is a very big area where natural philosophy, it was termed as the ancient times, the Indian Renaissance, which coincided with our independence struggle at the turn of 1900. Since then, the government of India spent a lot of established to science and technology infrastructure. Like for example, the DST, the Department of Science and Technology, play a very important role in the promotion of the science and technology in the countries. And there are large number of policies, schemes and the programs are launched for the scientists, researchers, scholars, students in the science and technology area. Transport sector, a well-knit coordinated system, has recorded an extensive growth over the years both in spread of network, glimpses of several modes of transport such as rail, road, water, etc. and the ministries also formulate the policies and the schemes and everything. Youth and sports, the population of India major comprises of the youth. This section detail information related to schemes, welfare programs. Users can also access information about the sports councils, youth services and various other measures. Then comes, this is basically india.gov.in. This is a very important website where a large number of data and information you will come across related to these ministries. This is once again you can find out the large number of for the ministries detailed data and what are the functionalities which are available. This is another sector where you can see on each sector like which I have talked about, like agriculture and other sectors, you can get details out of it. So this is in a nutshell what I talked about is basically all the ministries and the kind of information they have provided I mean it is you as a student should be knowing all these ministries in great detail so that you can facilitate the information service to your users. Thank you very much.